Okay, well, some people have used Flexbox 6 in various occasions, such as styling of the element and floating element, either left or right. So, um, the Flexbox uh, have a kind of flexibility, and with Flexbox, you have the this capacity of flexibility to be able to align or float any element to any area you want. So um, Flexbox is a bit flexible. It's more of advanced than using floats. Most of you notice when you float an object, you actually need to clear that particular object for the second day or the object next to that the main object you floated. Uh, in order to have uh, not to have the let's say the freedom or privileges to work on that uh, box that particular box. So Flexbox is a bit technical, and most people are not conversant with Flexbox. With float. So we decide okay, we are going to be introducing Flexbox professionally, so that you will understand when you convert element to Flexbox, there are properties available for you to utilize. There are utilities to use, and be able to achieve anything you want to achieve uh, with Flexboxes. Are we together? Yeah, I've not started. I've not started. Okay, we'll do that. Okay. So so now look at the Flexbox layout. Now, before flexible layout models, there are uh, four major layout modes we used in positioning elements or displaying elements to a certain position. Those layout models, the four major layout models we are using. Most of you know what block section in homepage is all about. The block. We also have the inline. You have the align text center, table for two-dimensional datas, positioning, floats. So the reason of having Flexbox, it makes your design flexible and responsive without using a float or a position. Are we together? So instead of us using a float, we can use a Flexbox. And one of the things I like about Flexbox, one of the things I like about Flexbox is that uh, it's very easy to very easy to convert Flexbox to a responsive box. So it's very easy. To be able to have access, this flexibility, and able to have control, general control of your project. So Flexbox is a it's more of advanced, and also very easy to use. So we're going to be looking at the Flexbox tonight. Then we at the end of this training we can be able to build um, a similar application you are seeing on the screen. I don't know if you are seeing the application. Okay, good and fine. So basically that is what Flexbox is all about. Now let take a look at the responsiveness of this application. Let's see how responsive it is, and see how we can um, build a duplicate of this application. Quickly, when it comes down here, you notice that this is a desktop uh, screen. Then the more smaller the screen is, uh, the content inside that flex box will automatically adjust until it get to a breakpoint. Now a breakpoint is a point where a div break and goes to another line. So that is very very important. A breakpoint is actually a point where a div will, you have to take a div to a particular line. So when it gets to this, you will see that we have a breakpoint where this container is now 100%. When you scroll down, you also see this container also, this images also. Then when you scroll a bit down, you see these nice boxes, and then this nice um, a nice font we are actually using. Then software also training and web development. So basically, you can see this application is very flexible and very mobile responsiveness. That's what we are seeing here. So we are going to be building a similar application using flex boxes. But before we proceed to that, I would also like to give you the basic of flexbox. Um, in order to enhance our knowledge in flex boxes, and also to make it very easier for us as we are building. If I'm using some terms that you are not conversant with, but with this brief theory, or maybe this brief practical, you can be able to understand the the syntax or the values or properties of flex boxes. Are we together? Okay, let me do that quickly. All right. Now we have okay. Yeah, we have flexbox. Then the flexboxes, the flexboxes properties, um, they are not every browser do support flexbox, and you are required to, if you are using the old version of browser, you are expected to update or upgrade their browser to a newer version in order to have some of this technology available on your local on your machines. And we all know that uh, website browsers is a software we use in accessing every website. Almost 95% of websites are all accessible in the browser. So make sure that you are using a latest version in order to have this flexbox. Now, to start using flexible module, you need to define a flex container. First, you need to define a container of that flex. Are you guys seeing my presentation? Okay. Now, in order to use flex element, just hold on. Don't really know what's happening. Let him check the job. Possibly should on it again. I don't know what's wrong. Okay, go and check now. You're asking me if it's phone. You two can both. Okay, let's continue, please. So the first box element above represent the blue area. Now the blue area is what we call flex box, and this particular background. Why this box inside there we call them items. So the items, when you convert a particular box to a flex box, what happen is that the those items inside that box will be automatically converted to a flex box. Okay, now can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Victor, get me my Xbox. That other one. I'm having network issue this night. I don't really know why. All right. Okay. As I was saying, we're talking about flex boxes. I said flex box uh is it makes our work very flexible, and also the ability to be able to position or align your elements to any direction you want. One of the limitation you're having as a beginner is the ability to be able to. He said, "I'm using the earpiece, so try it too. People have to manage it too." Oh, can you guys hear me now? Okay, so the flex boxes have this kind of flexibility on how you can control your div, or how you can control your div. So basically, that's what flexbox does. Now, flexbox is also, if you notice, when we want to float or maybe position an element or a div to a particular direction, we use float. And if you notice, float have uh, this technicality where you need to clear that particular element, the element closer to that D if you float it, for it to be able to align well. And this technicality often don't give you this kind of flexibility to be able to control or be able to manage your space. So one of the important things you need to know as a beginner is that, or you need to, one of the attributes you need to have as a beginner is the ability to float or to align any element to any direction you want. If you know how to do this, you can be able to position any element anywhere you want, and there is no limit to what you can build. You can just look at a particular website and then look at the layout, then you can build the duplicate of that website without having any challenge or maybe having any difficulty during building. So the Flexbox give us this flexibility as the name implies. Now, when you look at what you are seeing on your screen, we are having kind of a three boxes, one, two, three, and then a background box. Then we have the container of the flex box, call it flex container, the blue uh, div with the blue background div is called flex container. Now, why those one, two, three? div inside their call items. Now, those when immediately you apply an element to become a flex box, those items inside that element, those div inside that element automatically becomes becomes they become item. Those the item, the if you are aligning to an you are floating in line is what we call items. Now, flex properties house different kind of attributes or different kind of values you will apply to fit your respected needs. So we're going to be doing more of flex board this night. At the end of this theory, we are also going to be building a, just a very simple application that has that is very responsible in mobile. So we're going to be looking how we can use it, and it's encouraging or it is good to use flexible. It helps your ability to float or to position elements anywhere you want. So when you look at this particular site now we are building, we have this nice call it, we have this nice the nice layout, um, this cool and nice layout for our website, and you can see everything here is responsive to mobile. You can see there is no way there's no place we are maybe our element is cutting, or maybe our buttons are not well placed. They're always placed 100%. This is what we are going to be looking at now to see how we can build a replicate of this application. But that should be when we are done with our theory. Are we together? Okay, let's move ahead. Let's move ahead. So proceeding. Next thing we have here is we first create when we first create a flex box, then we create the item. Now, like the specific that specific like specified in the previous chapter. This is a flex container with a blue background with three flex what? Three flex items. Are we together? Savior, what is the problem? Savior, what is the problem? We'll manage it. We'll manage it. We'll manage it. All right. So we are going to be creating um, a flex box, then a flex item inside. Let's do that quickly. Class, what is this? Class, what is this? Are we together? What is the class? Class, what is this? What class are we? Class 20. That's the last class for the month, right? Okay. What we are going to be doing in this, I have to, uh, I have to create a kind of CSS, then um, also create HTML element. Okay. So I have to generate my HTML element. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is to create flexbox, to create a flex container, then flex container, and give it any name you want. Then I have a flex container here. This is my flex container. Now, when you come here, It's not yet flex until we have to convert this div to flex, when we can have access to those properties. I have to link my, I need to link my CSS. We won't know how to link CSS. So the flex, is my voice breaking? Is my voice breaking? Can you guys hear me clearly? All right, let please let's continue. Let's continue so that I can wrap up early. Now we've been able to link our CSS. I also need to kind of a few write up here. Okay, let me just add a background in this div. To add background, we need to just come here. We want to know the name of our div. The name of our div we just created. It's called flex. It's called flexbox. Okay. Flex container. Okay. Then what I need to do here is to just get a background of blue. Let's see what happened. You have to view. You have to just check at this. Flex the CS. Okay. Let me check that. Let's try to open it again. Let me get something. Get something. Hmm. We have this. That wasn't showing early, but notwithstanding. So let's create boxes inside this flex. Let's create boxes. So I'm going to create boxes. I'll call them items, right? I'm creating about boxes, items times three. So I'm creating items here. I'll say skyline one, skyline two, and skyline three. Now we have this item here. Um, we have this item inside our flex boxes. So I also want to give our div kind of background and also a color. Then this item, we just try to give this item colors. We need to do that. Um, quickly, we are going to come in here quickly. Then these are flex item we have. So let's just give this a background. Right, kind of this. Okay. Also, another thing we're going to be doing here is to add background in our containers. We call them items. To add background in our items, that's what we're going to be doing here. You can say, okay, item background, you can see dark blue. Then our weight of items should be 100%. Don't forget that. Then this flex element should also be 100%. Don't forget that. So don't forget that. Then this is what we have here. So let's define the weight of our element, the height rather. Okay, the weight, sorry. The weight of item will not be 100%. Let's give it 30% each. Then into the height should be, okay, let me correct that, 30%. So we have these items here. So let's try to give it a kind of a margin. Just say margin. I use margin top to 10 pixel. So I can have these spaces. Okay, be able to have these spaces. Let me give more of this background, more of this, and then background should be 25%. Sorry, the weight should be 25%. So this is what we have. This item now we have three div inside this item. So as this item is now, it is just a normal div, a normal CSS div. And for us to be able to convert this div to a flex box, you can see we have three items. Then we have three flex container. In this flex container, it is the is actually a container that controls our element. Now to convert this item to flexbox. Now what we need to do is that um, we need to come to the flex container and say display. Most of you know this flex. Basically, you use display flex, the item will automatically become an inline word, becomes an inline item, as you can see here. So what we need to do, we need to add. I think we already have. Okay, we only have margin top. So what the margin we are going to be having is margin left now to be able uh, to be able to control, to be able to have a separate div. That you can be able to see our div. Let me remove this. Just leave it as a margin. Then this one we have here, and this one we have. I'm also going to be giving our text white, um, text, sorry, color. Okay. Also increase the kind of the font size of our text to 20 pixel. All right. Uh, okay. I think we have to name skyline one, skyline two, and skyline three. We need to come to our HTML skyline one, then this other one will be skyline three. So now we have a flex box. This is a flex box. Can you buy plug? You get anywhere you can buy plug. You get anywhere you can buy plug. We have flex boxes. Now you can see we have flex boxes here. Um, let's say we want to like you can decide, okay, let's remove this margin. Are we together? Let's just remove this margin. We don't have this margin. Then this is what we have here. Now to give spaces in between this flex boxes, what we need to do is to use what we call when we come down here inside the flex box, you can say justify content. And see we have different options. Let's start with center and see what's going to happen. Now you can see our flex boxes is automatically placed in the center of our flex what do they call it, flex container. Also, if you want to move this container to the left, to the right, you can use what we call justify content. Um, I also want to give spaces in between these boxes. Now, remember earlier we used justify content, so I have to just um, comment on this justify content. Let you space around and see what's going to happen. When you space around, you come here. You notice that the item inside the flex box automatically create a space in between each of the box around. You can see we have space here, we have space here, we have space here, and we have space here. Now, in a situation where I don't want to, we also use space within and see what's going to happen. So let me comment on this. Then let you space within, space between rather. Now, when you space between, this is what's going to happen. You can see the edges, we don't have any space. While here, we have spaces in between this element. Now, that also I'm going to be showing you in flex box is that let me add a kind of a weight of 100% here, 100, height of 100, pixel, pixel, rather. Okay, I think we have height of 100 pixel here. So let's change it to 200. Okay, now we have this. Now we have this. Now we have this 200 pixel height for our flex container. In order to bring this item um, either to the left or to the right, you are going to be using what we call flex. See in the flex box, we use what we call flex end or flex start. If you use classified content end, then this will happen. Flex end, it will take this item to the right. It will put this flex element to the right. I need to bring back my margin, but this time around, I'll just make it 5. If you notice, it will take this item to the right. Now, if you use flex, if you use like um, flex start, flex start, then see what happen. The item will go to the left, to the right, to the left. Now, if you notice here, we our item is not placed in the within the center of our flex um, container. So in order to have it either up, center, left, or right, we are going to use a properties or a properties and value called align items. You can either align at the center, then see what's going to happen. You'll see that our item is in between the center of our flex um, container. If you also want to move this right object to the center, you can either come here, you can just come here and say align um, X align, then center. So we have this item to center. If you also want to bring this down to appear in the center of your element, you can also do that by converting this to flex. I say flex display. I don't want to show you this, but I think it's not necessary. There's another way of achieving that. Then let's see what happens. Display to flex. Then you can say Align item center. Let's see what happened. So you notice that we align at the center. Now, whenever you convert these boxes to flex, this item here automatically, this scalar one here automatically becomes the item of that flex box. Are we together? Are we together? Now, good. You can also move it. Okay. Okay. Now you have seen the difference between the justify item center and the align asset center. Let me recap again. To align asset center, let's use end, flex end. Now see what's going to happen. Each item will come down. If we use start, flex, flex start, then this is what we have. You take it up. If we use flex end, see what's going to happen. Now we use flex center. See what happened. Now when you apply here, justify content, and it goes to the left hand, the right hand side. So these are the differences between justify content and align item. So you'll be able to see the differences. Now, also what we are going to be doing also is to bring this back to center. Now, another thing also you're also going to interest you to understand is that um let us comment on this. Another thing you need to understand is that this particular flex box, it is not responsive. It is not responsive. Are we together? It is not responsive. Now, just Flexbox automatically in default when it convert Flexbox, when it convert an item to Flexbox, it will automatically align as a row, not as a column. As a row, not as a column. Remember, row. Um, Let me give you some painting so you understand the clear picture of what I'm saying. Now, the text direction of these flex boxes automatically comes in as a row. Now, why in default it's row, what the other one is column? You can see this is what we call column. Now, also, this row is not responsive in mobile. It's only you can only use it in desktop or laptop setting or a bigger screen. But if you want to use it in mobile, you need to convert that flex box from row to column. Now let me show you, let me tell you what, let me explain further. If you notice here, it's not responsive. It's not responsive at all. Now to convert this flex box or flex item to become responsive, what we need to do is very simple. We have to come here and change this and add what we call flex direct, flex direction. Now flex direction automatically comes in as row. If you check your application, nothing's happened, still the same thing. But if you want to make it responsive, listen, if you want to make it responsive to mobile, you are going to be using what we call flex column. So flex column automatically floats or converts your item to column. Now let me show you something. Flex direct to column. You see what we have here? You see what we have here, right? Please let respond now. Let not just feel I'm just talking to myself. Let respond. Okay, good. Now, if you notice that, okay, let's just look at the responsiveness of this. This is the responsiveness. Let's give it. Remember the size we are using. The height we are using is the height we are using is about 25%, right? Right. Let's give this 50%. Then, if you give it the 50%, see what happen. You see what happen? Let's change this item to 100%. See what happen. Um, are we together? You can see this one is more responsive, right? This particular one column is more responsive. But the problem here is that it's not the same in mobile. It's not the same in desktop. If we use like 60% here, so we have a bit of responsiveness here. But if you use it in laptop, in desktop, you notice that it will not be responsive. As you can see in your screen here, this item is not responsive in system. It is not well placed in system. Its column can only be used in phone, in like in a smaller sizes, a smaller device. Are we communicating? Good. So let's okay. Another thing also we are going to be doing is that you can either change this item, maybe reverse. You can say, okay, I want to reverse this item from one. I want it. When you notice, you see that Skyline is the first, Skyline 2 is the second, while Skyline 3 is the third. Let's assume you want to reverse this column the other way around. What you need to do is use column reverse. Column reverse. This item will automatically place about this particular element. Then we have here, you can see this flex item. They are they are columns, right? And columns are mostly flexible. Then we have this is what we have column reverse. You can change item scalar one, scalar three to be the first element. Just the kind of item reverse. So basically, that's what it is. Now, also, quickly I will be adding more properties here. I'm going to be removing this column reverse. Then let's just do something. Reduce this to 40%. Size to 40%. Okay. Let's do something quickly. Here, here I will try to align this item, justify this item to end. Let's see what happens. Flex end, and let's see what's gonna happen. You can see nothing happens, right? Let's see flex. Let's see let's say flex start. Still nothing happened. Now let's use item. If you have is let's say if you are working on mobile, maybe you converted this particular flex element. Okay, I'm meeting. When I'm done, I will check it out. You hear me? Huh? At the meeting, when I finish, I will check it out. Trying to close most of these windows. I'm not even using them. They are just open here. Just being open and there. Why? Did you change the plug? Huh? So what happened now? I'll just keep having this just have unnecessary. I'm trying to close some of these windows. Okay. So I have more time to be able to have control to my element. Okay. I have this here. Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead. Um. Yeah. Go a bit mobile responsive. Yeah, we have it in mobile. Okay. Now to move this am I recording? Okay. To move this item to flex end, we are using it in the end. Now this is what happened here. You can see this item is the end. Then if you move it to start, this is what happened. But in roll, it's not the same thing. In roll, we just take it up, take it down. In roll, it's total scenario. It's a different scenario. So what happened is that align item center would automatically move your element in between the center of your container. You can decide to also change this item to 100% if you want 100% weight of your item container. You can see we have it 100% well responsive and well placed. Are we following up? Are we following up? So I'm going to be commenting on this. I'm commenting on this. So I don't need it. Let's move ahead. So we are going to be looking. We have done justify content. We've done align item. We're going to be looking at. We have done flex direct, right? Then let's look at flex crop and flex grow. So I'm going to be looking at flex crop and flex grow. What is flex crop and what is flex grow? Now, this is the work of a flex grow. A work of a flex grow is to define, let's say, to define the height of all the flex item. So what happen is that if you use flex grow, you can be able to define the growth of your item. So let's proceed. Um, here is flex direct. Flex direct proper define which direction the container want to stick the flex item. So we know it can either be columns or either be row. We've done this one. They can flex display, flex direct to column. The column values take the item vertically from the top to bottom. While we have flex column reverse. We've already done column reverse. You know what column reverse is all about. It reverses the order of the item. So we've done flex rows reverse. Now let's look at flex crop. Now flex crop specify the item should crop or not. Now, let's say for instance they have like 12 items or 11 items. Now, what flex crop does is that it will break those items to become responsive. At a point where you are the screen of your let me okay, let's continue. So at a point where the scheme of your device cannot contain these four elements, what happened that it will break. Now let me do example of flex. Um, this example of flex. Okay. So I want to duplicate this item. All right, let's go here. If you can see, we have about 12 items. Still, those 12 items are still on the same line. So if you notice, what flex does is that it will compress the weights of your elements. Are we together? If you come here, we have about we should have about 40, we have about 100%, right, of our width, which is who can it may probably take up the whole percent of our flex container, but that did not happen. So what flex does is that it will compress the size into small pieces. Now, when you come here, let's say you have responsiveness. If you notice here, there's no break. Usually, usually there should be a break point where when you are like when you are increasing this item, it will break, but it's not happening. And this will make our item not to be responsive to a smaller device. Now, in order to resolve this problem, we need to use what we call test crop to crop this item. If we can crop this item, it will be able to break this item when it gets to the mobile size. Now, let's do something here. You can say, okay, text flex crop equals to crop. Now, when it comes there, you notice that this item is responsive and it breaks. Are we together? Are we together? This item is and it's breaks. So look at it now. Now this is the work of test crop. So it automatically crop this item. If you remove this item like this, you notice that it has cropped this item and this item is 100, is now 100%. But let me reduce that to 100% because we have this as 100%. Let me reduce this to like 25% as you have it before. So if you notice here, the item has a break point. At a point, it has a break point. But that's what the work of flex crop. Now, if you notice, if you remove this flex crop, this item will still will now come in to be to form just one line. But if with flex crop, the item will automatically break at a point. So that is the work of flex crop. It will crop the item automatically. So let um comment on this. We comment on this, see what will happen. Now our item will not be responsive. So in order to have responsiveness, you need to use a test word, a flex crop, to be able to have this responsiveness in your application. We've done justify content center, start and end. We've done a space around element. Um, let's move ahead. Then align content, we've done that. Okay. Okay, let's look a bit about flex grow. We'll come to that later. Now, let's have the child element item. The child element item of flex content automatically becomes a flexible element. So we've done this. Okay, let's go to another one where we have uh, text flex grow and flex. So let's come to other. Now, flex grow properties. Besides how much an item would grow relative to the rest of element. Now, the work of test grow is that uh, a test grow have a number from 1 to 10. Now, if you want to give a particular element, you want to give a particular element size to be bigger than other item, use what we call text group. Now, I want to show you guys how you can be able to work independently on each of these items. Now, okay, let's move ahead. I think my scheme is a bit slow. I don't know why. Maybe it's slow. Oh, 20. Okay, so where are we? Where do we stop? Where do we stop? I want to individually give these two elements. Like I want to individually work on this like I want to work individually on this element. Perhaps I want to just give it a different color, maybe give it a different sizes from others. So what we are going to do is that we are going to be working just on this particular element. We are going to be doing that. Now let me bring this thing back to let me bring it back to justify content center, and then okay, removing this. Let's bring this down to text align. Use a center, right? Okay. So what I'm going to be doing now, I will be working just on this element. Let's see. Let's do something. We are removing this weight. Remove this weight. Now let this one come back here and write flex one or two. You notice that equal uh, we have this equal height of our elements. So flex is also used to add the height inside our item. That is mostly the work of flex. Also, we have a flex grow, like let's say three. So this is what happened. So if you are bringing this like this, the larger you go, the larger your flex will grow. So that is what flex grow is all about. Then try to do this individually. Perhaps you'll be able to give this flex individual growth. To do that, to work on the flex individually, you need to call in the flex item. Like to work on this box individually, you need to work in the flex item. Then dot this. So what we are going to do here is very simple. We can say this not not of type. So this now inside the not of type, if you come here, we have how many div? One, two, three. We have three div. So what I'm going to do here is that number one represent the first div. The next one, this particular code here represent one element, which is the first one. Why this represent the second item, represent the third item. So what you are going to do is to change this one to second, two, then 3. What I'm going to also do is to comment on this flex grow. This flex grow. I can come here and say, okay, flex grow here. Flex grow here is 1. Then in these two container should be 3. When you come down here, let's say we have 4. Let's see what happens. So if you notice in this flex grow, you will see that the third item, which is 3, which is number 1 here, is bigger than the fourth item. You can see the work of flex grow. They grow it that the larger they scream, the larger they scream, the larger the weight. That's the work of flex grow. So the larger the scream, the larger the hit, the weight. If the larger the width, this 3 item is longer. It has more width than the second item. While the first one has the smaller what? The smaller width. So that is the work of flex grow. This is actually what flex grow does. I also want to do another thing. Let me comment on this. Um, let's see item for recording. Does not last of 1. Guys, any question? Anybody with any question? Nobody with question. Huh? You said? Okay. O- Okay, no problem. Yes, I hear you. If you notice here, now notice here. If you notice here, we have the first item, which is 1. I gave this first item. Look at the code here. The previous code we use is reverse. It's reverse. So I gave this first item. Sorry, let go move on. Now I gave this first item, which is my first skyline, a test grow of 1, a ratio of 1. Then I gave this one a ratio of 3. Now when it comes to my browser, you notice that skyline has the largest width, while second to skyline 2, and the least there is skyline 3. So the first one here in this code, this one here means item 1. This code is referring to item 1, while this code is referring to item 2. This other code is referring to item 3. Are we together? Are we together? So this is how you can individually add flex grow. Now what you need to know about flex grow is that the larger you are screen, the larger the length. So this is what happen here. At a point, the larger your screen, the larger your length. So it grows. We also have what we call flex, just like flex 1, flex to 1, flex to 1. Let's just see what happen. You can see the one item is still bigger. So these are how we can be able to add instead of using weight, width. You can just add flex grow. You make your side look more responsive rather. Let's move ahead. We've done flex. No, we also have what we call flex shrink. I think that will be all in flex. That will be all in flex. If there's any other thing in flex, I will also maybe update you guys. You have seen how to align this item to center, how to increase individual size of a particular flex. Now, what we are going to be doing next is to use those things we just finished learning to build a responsive design with flex. Are we together?